you tell I'm in denial?
You can't stay at the top forever.
I was also very surprised when I looked at my phone and saw Joe Girardi dismissed.
Well, I think mine were with common sense.
I think now belongs in the all-time greats top 10.
Boston, I really think only got to this point because of a guy named Chris Middleton being out for the Bucks.
That power play just was unbearable. It was humming.
Man, am I happy. I knew that this was going to happen. I knew he was going to come back.
When I think of New York Yankees now is Judge, probably people in the past when Jeter was coming up.
I would be shocked. A little bit hurt.
Hey, this is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, TexasFootball.com, and Valley Sports Southwest. You are listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our MLB Opinions of the Week. Happy Trade Deadline Day. A lot of deals have happened so far while we're recording. Just to note, we're recording around 8 for the trade deadline on August 1st. So if something happened after this, we're not talking about it because we didn't know about it. But we know about Frankie Montas, Luis Castillo. We'll review those later. But we're doing a little mix-up differently. We are going by division and what player we think has the most chance to be traded in that division. So we have 6 players. And Austin, I'll let you start off with your division and player.
So I'm going to start off with the NL East. And this is not necessarily like who's going to be traded. It's just who we believe has the best chance in each division to be traded. And I'm going to start off with the NL East. I'm going to go Josh Bell. He's played very, very well with the Washington Nationals. He's not extremely young, so I don't know if he fits Washington's timeline, especially if they do decide to trade Juan Soto. So I'm going Josh Bell, who's I think hitting over 300 still. Yeah, he's hitting 302. He has an 878 OPS. His 3.4 WAR this season. He's been very, very impressive this year on a very bad team, and I think someone's going to need a first baseman, and they pick him up.
Yes, I agree. I have Josh Bell as well. The NL East, it's very difficult which teams would trade because I know the Marlins could trade, but it depends. With the Nationals, though, Josh Bell is the most obvious, even though we have talked about Juan Soto. It's just because he's a free agent this year and he's hitting really well, and he is a first baseman, and he's a good first baseman defensively. But you could also have him as a DH, so I think that there are a lot of teams that would pay for him and make a good trade that would benefit both teams. But now I think we can move on to the NL Central. This one, I'm going with Wilson Contreras, the catcher with the Cubs. The Cubs traded a few players, but I think a lot of people will trade for catchers, given just how some teams really want to have a catcher that can hit and be good defensively, like Wilson Contreras, and he can also be a DH. Who do you have being traded?
So this one was very tough for me because there's a lot of players I don't want to be see traded in this division. But I agree with you. We go back to Becky agrees. Wilson Contreras is just too good for a Cubs team that struggled for so long after they won a championship in his rookie season. It's just the obvious choice, and I don't like always making the obvious choice, but he's having a great year. His WAR is 2.8. He was an all-star this season with his brother. 3-time all-star, World Series winner, great catcher, great defensive catcher too. Positive defensive WAR. He's been the best player on a bad team, and it's going to be tough to see him go. I didn't want to have to say it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I agree. Also, maybe David Robertson could be traded, but just because he's a reliever. But so that's another name. Just because we said the same name for the two divisions. Let's see how we do on the third division.
So this one I doubt we agree in, and just David Robertson, he's been amazing. I just want to shout him out because you said his name. Won a championship with the Yankees back in 2009. He's had a 2.23 ERA. He's been great. But I'm going with Merrill Kelly, who leads the Arizona Diamondbacks in WAR. He just won Player of the Week this past week, pitching 15 innings and allowing 0 runs earned. He's been very good. He has 3.3 WAR. He's a 2.87 ERA, 10-5, 21 games started, 21 games that he's played in total. So he started every game he's played in. 15 innings, 0 earned runs. He's peaking at the right time. His fielding independent pitching is really good at a 3.12. And his ERA plus is 142. He's been amazing, and for someone who needs a good starting pitcher, someone who's hot right now, I'm gonna go Merrill Kelly.
Okay, I do not have that name. I have Christian Walker. So we do share the same team, but I think Christian Walker, I don't think he really fits in to their plans because I believe he is 31.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
is.
he's
You're right.
31. So he doesn't really fit their plans, but he's a really nice hitter. And I think you can have DH now, which is, I think, changes a little bit about what hitters are moved because you don't really need a position for hitters if you can just put them at the DH. So that's who I think gets traded from the Diamondbacks. But so that's most likely. What about you?
Uh, yeah, I already said Merrill Kelly, but just something I wanted to mention is the fact that he is 33 years old in 291 days. So he's older than Christian Walker even, has the most WAR on the team. He's peaked late in his career, has had a great season this year. So that was another reason. You mentioned his age. I forgot to mention the age was part of the reason why I chose Merrill Kelly as well. He's had a great season, and also he's been much older than the majority of the players on the team, especially as they're moving forward. Who do you have for the AL East?
I have JD Martinez. I think, speaking of hitters,
Wow.
and it looks like the Red Sox are having a fire sale as Christian Vasquez was traded. And I know there are rumors with JD Martinez. They said they wouldn't trade Bogarts, but I kind of have a conspiracy theory that they could trade him. But we're doing most likely as trades, so that's why I said JD Martinez.
I did not anticipate that. That was wow. JD Martinez, someone who's resurged his entire existence in the MLB with the Boston Red Sox. He's hit very well his entire career. Was an all star, I should say, this past season. He has been the past 2 years. He gets a ton of doubles. Wow, I did not expect that. But again, we have the same team, and I'm going with someone who hasn't played as much as a guy like JD Martinez because he's been hurt. But I think that a guy like Rob Refsnyder, who's only played 34 games this season, partially because of injury and partially also because he's been in and out of the league, but he's hitting 309 right now. He's hitting 309 this season. He is a positive WAR in the small amount of games he's played. He's kind of been a journeyman, but I feel like he's going to want to get his value. He has an 885 OPS, 143 OPS plus. He's having a career season, and he was killing the Yankees for a couple games there after he played with them for a couple seasons. So he's a lesser known guy, but I feel like he's the most likely guy to be traded because you don't have to give up a lot to get him. But I feel like someone who's on the verge and needs another bat could consider it.
I think that's a very good point. Yeah, and it just looks like the Red Sox are having a fire sale. But now we go to the AL Central.
Arrow Central, I have Lance Lynn. I feel like Lance Lynn's not playing as bad as his ERA shows, and I feel like someone's going to be like, I could change that. I could turn that around. I know he's been hurt partially this season. He's only started 9 games, but his ERA of 6.42 is atrocious. He's a 4.67 FIP, which is not that great either. But they believe he could turn it around. He had a outstanding season with the Rangers back in 2019 where he had 7.7 WAR. And mind you, WAR 8 plus is MVP level. Lance Lynn in 2019 with the Rangers had 7.7 WAR. And now, obviously, last season he was an ace with a team that made the playoffs in Chicago with 2.69 ERA. Great season. But this year, much worse, whether injuries are the deal or not. I feel like someone takes a chance. He's been top 6 in Cy Young voting the past 3 years, but he's having a poor season this year, and I believe that someone's going to try to jump on it. Who do you
So
have?
you're, or wait, what were you gonna say? I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I'm all good.
Okay, okay. So you're saying the White Sox are selling?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I don't have Lance Lynn because I feel the White Sox are going to try to make it. But one team that the player I've traded is Whit Merrifield from the Royals. They traded Benintendi, and I think second baseman slash outfielder Merrifield could be traded. Most likely would be traded, given how I don't see the Guardians trading away anyone. I don't see the Twins doing that or the White Sox. Didn't really see anyone on the Tigers, so that's why I have Whit Merrifield being traded. I think a team looking for a second baseman could add him. So that's what I have, and now we go to the AL West.
You're up.
Oh yes, so AL West is Sean Murphy, another catcher. I think given how he's the only athletic from that like great A's team, where they're really competitive. So I'm sure his hours, they're counting down the hours and trying to trade him because he's can give him some great value, and that's the player I see being traded from the AL West.
Yeah, you said Sean Murphy, right?
Yeah, Sean Murphy. Yeah.
Yeah, he won a Gold Glove last year. He was fourth in Rookie of the Year voting in 2020. Had a great season, um, and he has played in the playoffs with Oakland twice. So yeah, you're right. He has played on teams that are better. But I'm going a different route. I am going again with the Athletics, but I'm going with a guy that you know a lot about. I'm going with Elvis Andrews. Elvis Andrews, I know, does not have the best batting average right now, only at a 237, but he has a lot of experience. Has been multiple All Stars, uh, active defensive WAR for his career. He's in 20th place between active players in defensive WAR, so he's not a bad defender. And also, recently speaking, he has been hitting extremely well. He has been flaming hot recently. He had a hitting streak of, let me count, 9 games, and then was off one, had 3 hits in the next game, one, and then was off in his last game. So his batting average was all the way down at 216 at its lowest, and now it's all the way back up to 237. He's been hitting amazing as of recent, and this is really the time to start playing well. So if you see a guy getting hot, especially on a bad team, they're bound to get sold.
Yeah, that's interesting about Andrews, but I could see a team making just getting a hitter like you said, and he's not bad defensively. So now that concludes. I know we didn't talk about this earlier, but how do you feel about Juan Soto? Do you think a deal gets done or no?
I don't know. Do you?
It's tough, but given what the Yankees have done and the Astros have done, I'm thinking a team's gonna go pay, and I think it's more AL side, but I
Let's say
think
this now. Let's say this now. Who gets Soto if he's dealt? We'll make this
it's yeah.
extended part. I'm going to say Cardinals.
Oh, Cardinals, interesting. That would be interesting. I'm gonna say Padres.
We both go in now. Okay.
Yeah. So I
I
think a
hope he's
team.
not traded. I hope he's not traded. But if he is, I'm betting Cardinals.
I wish they could work out a deal where they could figure out the money and keep him, and then. But I think it could be a win-win for both sides. The teams that trade for him, they give up a lot of prospects. It allows the Nationals to be competitive earlier than if they kept Soto and didn't really get a lot from the trade. But it would also benefit the team from getting Juan Soto. But I think something does happen, and I think it's the Padres. So that's it, and nothing. I scrolled through Twitter. I did not see any other trades. So, what about you, Austin? We didn't miss anything.
I don't see anything.
Okay, so that's what we got, and let us know what you think. And hopefully, it's an active trade deadline, more active than the NBA offseason together. That's all we got, and thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.